is Ariana, and this is my story. When Therese first brought this project to me, I thought it was absolutely amazing, and like many others, it got me thinking about my life and thinking about the events in my life, and I think a lot has happened to me, but reflecting back on it, there's a lot of things that I thought were coincidence or I thought was luck. And as I look back, it was like, no, that was God. Like, there's no way coincidence happened in this situation. There's no way that this was just luck. This was absolutely the hand of God coming into my life. So there's two stories that I would like to tell with that. The first one, I was just graduated from college, a couple months out, and I got a really amazing opportunity to go to Japan. I was child wrangling. That's the actual title of my job. There's a theater production of Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat that had started in St. Paul at the Ordway, and then they were going to Japan to perform. But the kids that are in the show were all local kids in Japan. So I went over there to teach them the choreography of the dances and kind of get them ready for it, and then I would help them during the shows as well. Well, while I was in Japan, this was about April of 2012, which is the exact time that the 9.8 earthquake happened, just off of Japan, just off Tokyo. So I was there for that. I got to experience that. Now, being in Minnesota, I've never experienced an earthquake in my life. So I remember vividly what was happening at the time. I was actually out souvenir shopping. I was by myself. I was miles and miles and miles and miles from my hotel. No cell phone, no way to contact anybody from the company. And so I was completely on my own. I should mention too that I was in Japan for 3 weeks total, and for the first 3 days, I did not leave my hotel room unless it was to go to rehearsal. I was terrified to be there. So on this day, I was feeling a lot more comfortable. I had the subway systems down. I was definitely feeling like, okay, I can do this. I can go out on my own. There's a specific shop I want to go to find these souvenirs. And I am walking down the street, and all of a sudden the concrete just started to shift back and forth. And I'm like, what is happening? This feels like nothing I have ever felt before. I looked around and none of the locals were freaking out. And I said, all right, do as the Japan people do as the Romans do. If they're not freaking out, I'm not going to freak out. So I'm just going to stand here and ride it out and see what happens. And, a minute later, it ended. And it was that time that it was like, oh, that was an earthquake. I stood on the street in an earthquake. Like, it was crazy to me. And I had no idea, like, who else felt it, how big it was. I had no clue until I got back to the hotel that I realized this thing was massive. This thing was literally life-changing for millions of people. But as I look back on that event, the timing of it was absolutely incredible. And I think a lot of people would think that, again, this was luck or this was coincidence. But this was absolutely the hand of God. Maybe 5 minutes before I was standing on that street, I was in the subway. So if that earthquake had happened when I was in the subway, I don't even know what would have happened. Could have been a cave-in, could have been, trail off the rails, car off the rails, flood, anything. So 5 minutes, I was outside, and then it happened. 30 minutes before standing on the street where I was, 30 minutes before that, I was at the tallest peak you could get on what's called Tokyo Tower, which is basically the Eiffel Tower looking, but it's in Japan, it's red. And I saw later on the news that the earthquake was so tremendous and was so strong that the pole that's at the top of this Tokyo Tower was actually bent because it swayed so hard. 30 minutes before this thing hit, I was at the very top of that. I can't even imagine what would have happened if I was at the top of that. So the timing of this, again, it's not coincidence, it's not luck. It was God leading me to where I needed to go so that I was safe during it. And yes, I was far away from my hotel, but I managed to make it back. I had the help of some really great people. I do not speak Japanese, but I got into a cab and the cab driver was able to get me most of the way till we hit gridlock, and then I got out and walked, and there was a point where I could go this way or I could go this way, and I couldn't find that on my map of that split, so I didn't know where I was. And this beautiful, I keep calling her an angel, she was a real person, but this beautiful woman came up and said, "Where do you need to go?" She was American, she spoke English, she lived there, she knew what she was doing, and she was able to direct me exactly where to go. So the tragedies and the events that happen in the world, you look for the helpers, right? You look for the people who are there to help people and to calm people down. And God putting those people in my path in that time was absolutely incredible, because I was also a dumb 23-year-old. I didn't know what I was doing, where I was going. I had all figured it out about a week before. So having God's hand in that was absolutely instrumental in getting me home safely, getting all of us home safely. So story number one. Story number two of not coincidence, not luck, absolutely the hand of God. I'm Minnesota born and raised. I grew up in Lakeville, but I've lived in a couple of different places now, and that's kind of due to my husband and I moving around. But how I met my husband is kind of a funny story. My best friend since the 4th grade ended up marrying a guy we went to high school and junior high with, and he joined the Air Force, and they moved down to Little Rock, Arkansas. My now husband was also stationed in Little Rock, Arkansas. I went down to visit her after they got married and moved, and they ended up living in a house with my current husband, my now husband. And so Little Rock, Arkansas has no connection to any of us. It's just where the military ended up putting all of these people. And then I went down to visit her, and then I met him. And then he wouldn't leave me alone, which ended up being good, because we started dating, got married, and 13 years later we have 2 beautiful boys, a beautiful home, and an absolutely amazing marriage. So I never would have met him if it weren't for my best friend marrying this guy who was stationed here, who went to school with us, this and that and this and that. Again, it's not coincidence, it's not luck. It's God, and it's God's hand. He knows what he's doing. He has a plan for you. So I would love to encourage other people to kind of look back and what are the stories where you go, man, I was really lucky. Were you? Or was that maybe God giving you that little push, or giving you that timing that you needed with it? So maybe just take a look and see what you can't figure out.